Why a royal family accepts divorcee Meghan Markle but shunned King Edward's absurd marriage. The last American divorcee to marry a royal family member triggered a constitutional crisis and the abdication of a king. But fast forward 82 years and a seismic change in social attitudes among the monarchy has made way for freedom and the relationship of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to blossom, according to a royal commentator. Prince Harry's announcement of his marriage in May to his American actress fiancée Meghan, 36, was quickly accompanied by statements of delight from the groom's grandmother, the Queen, and his father and heir to the throne, Prince Charles. But it was so very different from the last time a British royal wanted to marry an American divorcee. King Edward VIII's 1936 engagement to U.S. socialite Wallis Simpson was met with disdain, and ultimately forced the monarch to give up the throne for love. Richard Fitzwilliams told Express Co. UK that 33-year-old Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle is very different because he is sixth in line to the throne. He said, "The seismic change in social attitudes over the past decades has been mirrored in the way the announcement of Harry's engagement to Meghan, an American divorcee, was met with such enthusiasm and with no dissenting voices. As Harry will shortly be sixth in line to the throne, he has much more freedom." But Harry was still required to seek the permission from the 92-year-old monarch to marry his girlfriend. Mr. Fitzwilliams said the royal family would now put Meghan's attributes to good use. He said, "The idea of an American biracial actress who is also a humanitarian activist and will clearly use her talents in this area for the good of others, as well as being able to cope with the vast media interest, has made total sense." King Edward's 1937 engagement was rejected by the Church of England, of which the monarch of the UK is the head. The church banned the remarriage of a divorced person whose previous spouse is alive. However, today the church has given its full backing to the marriage of Harry and Meghan, which will take place in Windsor's St. George's Chapel in May. Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby revealed no qualms about Prince Harry marrying a divorcee, a sign of how the Church of England has changed, saying, "I wish them many years of love, happiness and fulfillment and ask that God blesses them throughout their married life together." But Mr. Fitzwilliams said because Mrs. Simpson was soon to be twice divorced and still married at the time made the king's position somewhat absurd. He said, "The Prime Minister, Stanley Baldwin, told Edward that if he married Mrs. Simpson in the face of government opposition the government would resign." The king in fact had few establishment voices speaking for him, as Wallis Simpson, who eventually went abroad, was terrified of adverse publicity. The fact that Mrs. Simpson was American was not popular in the 1930s. That is very different with Meghan, as is obvious, with an American princess being seen as the ultimate manifestation of the special relationship between the United States and Britain. King Edward's 1937 marriage to Mrs. Simpson changed the path of history and indirectly put Queen Elizabeth II on the throne. However, Mr. Fitzwilliams said it was very fortunate Edward's brother and the Queen's late father, King George VI, had taken kingship. He said, in 1936 Edward I abdicated rather than give up the woman he loved. He had some support in the country at large where he had been a popular and fashionable Prince of Wales, but he was also selfish, racist and had pro-fascist leanings, and it turned out to be very fortunate that his brother, George VI, succeeded him. The Church's ban on remarriage of a divorced person also plagued the life of Queen Elizabeth's sister, Princess Margaret, who was told she could not marry the man she loved in 1953. The Church of England leaders said they would not countenance the marriage because Captain Peter Townsend was a divorcee, whose former spouse was still alive. Her only path to marry would be to renounce her right to the throne and leave the royal family, to which Princess Margaret decided not to marry the Royal Air Force officer. In 2005, the monarchy showed significant signs it was adapting when Prince Charles announced his marriage to divorcee Camilla Parker Bowles. But Mr. Fitzwilliams said the news was met with controversy because of Camilla's role in his fateful marriage to Princess Diana. However, the pair married in a compromise, opting to tie the knot in a civil ceremony with an Anglican blessing for their marriage in St. George's Chapel conducted by the then Archbishop of Canterbury Rowan Williams. Mr. Fitzwilliams added, with 3 of the Queen's 4 children divorced, it was also clear that the royal family had more than mirrored the way society had moved, as so many marriages ended in divorce. The Church's teaching was more liberal too.